Hi everybody, it's been a while since I've been on here and I wanted to give you kind of an update and talk about frugal things and what we're kind of doing now and what's been going on, because I really like the channels where people talk about their own life and how it affects them. And so I want to tell y'all, like, first of all, one reason I've been gone is our business has been so busy. I took on a small 4-week job that has ended, but not quite, because I have another couple commitments to do, but then I will be done with my teaching. I think indefinitely. I'm never going to say never, but I do not intend on going back at this time. Also, and people have said, well, don't quit teaching because you lose your own practice, because I'm a yoga therapist. But for me, that's never been the case. I've been practicing since I was a child, and I've always had my own practice, whether I'm teaching or not. So I found it rewarding to be teaching. However, I just don't want my time. I just felt rushed and panicked all the time because I have so many other things going on. So, and with our roofing business, it's been super stressful, and most days I've been working from sun up to sundown. If I'm not working on the roofing, I'm taking care of my other work that I was doing or taking care of my house or family. So it was just getting to be really stressful. And unfortunately, that set off an autoimmune flare for me, which is another reason I've decided that I don't need to be doing anything extra over what has to be done for our, for us to have a job and get by. So let me first go back and I'll talk about that a little bit, but I'll tell you what our goals are. So we are trying to hit a certain amount of money in our Vanguard, it was where we invest, our investment accounts and our CDs and cash accounts, so that we can retire and that will produce for us a good living wage. So what we make now, basically, we do not live on everything we make. We only live on a percentage of what we make. And we've been doing that pretty much since we combined households. What we decided to do when we combined households was we would try to live on less than what we made, because went from being single parents to 2 people living together. So we never kind of got used to that 2-income lifestyle. We've had a lot of changes over the years, but we've always, since we've been together 12 years, we've only lived together for about 7 of those years. But we've always lived on less. And as our income has increased, we've just saved more. We did have to up our income, how much we were living on, because of inflation, and then also buying this farm. The value of it rose so fast and so substantially. Our insurance and taxes also went way through the roof. So I don't want to give that number, because everybody's number is relative to their cost of living, where they live. There's just so many factors that impact, how much you need. So for us, we're trying to get to what I would say is the average or median income for the average American. And if you want to look it up, you'll probably find the number. But I will tell you, it's somewhere between $50,000 and $80,000. And off of our investments, interest off our CDs, my husband's Social Security and pension, we're trying to get to that number. And that is generally 4% of your investments, and your CDs right now are paying 4 to 5%. So we would be living off of that until my Social Security kicked in, allowing our investments to grow another 5 years to 7 years, so that eventually I will start to pull off of those at 4% a year. I'm not going to go into that and bore you to death. If you want to know more about how you figure out how much you need, if you're older like me, you want to take the amount you think you need to live on, subtract your Social Security if there's any pension or anything like that, and then that amount that you think you need to live on, times it times 25. So if it's $10,000, you need $250,000 a year to produce $10,000 worth of income without going broke or running out of money. So we are about 2 years away from reaching that goal. And I want to tell you some things that have been going on lately. So here's some frugal things we've been doing. I just got back, see my shirt, I just got back from the Cherokee Nation in Oklahoma. So I'm a tribal member, and I get free health care there, or next to free health care. And because glasses are so expensive and I needed a second opinion on some dental work, I need some major dental work from, I have a disease called Sjogren's disease, and it causes dry eyes and mouth, so it causes my teeth to crack. And I wanted another opinion on whether or not I needed to crown a bunch of teeth, because I had gotten 3 different opinions from 3 different dentists. And I trust the Cherokee Nation because they're not trying to take money from me, because they don't charge you anything. And they said, in fact, I did need to have these 3 teeth crowned. I also have, because I have an eye disease, or a disease that impacts my eyes, they have state-of-the-art care there that's better than anywhere I could go. And so I went there, and I ended up finding out that I have a lot of inflammation going on right now, which I figured because I was struggling with a lot of pain and discomfort lately. And they said that my eyes are severely inflamed. I cannot see it when I look in the mirror. They're not red or anything, but they put me on 3 different types of medications for that. And I got a pair of glasses, which normally would cost me $600 to $700, when I only buy those every couple of years because I have a very strong trifocal lens. And there I only paid $116, and that's only because I elected to have no line trifocals, and I elected to have the anti-glare. So yeah, it saves me a ton of money. So I rented an Airbnb there. Sorry about the glare. I will tell you some things I did to save. I have a coupon because I have an Airbnb. I'm a super host. I used my $100 coupon on the Airbnb. And then when I got home, I took the points that I had accumulated and applied those to my purchases for the month, including part of it for the Airbnb. That gave me $376 off of my spending. The other thing that I did is I took a friend with me, and every day we only ate 1 meal out. And then before we left, we each would bring things like olives, hummus, cashew-based cheeses, crackers, and vegetables. And we would eat on that instead of a meal, or we would eat our leftovers. And then we would eat breakfast and coffee at the Airbnb. So that saved a lot of money. And each day we did treat ourselves to a smoothie. Well, not each day, 2 days we had smoothies. And so that's really all we spent. We went to museums that were free. We went to the gift shop. I did buy a few things there, my shirt, and I did get, because actually I got this shirt for my husband. You probably see me talk about I don't buy a lot of souvenirs, but I'm very proud of my heritage. My family started the newspaper, the Cherokee Nation, and my grandmother lived there for years, so I love it, and I liked the shirt. So the other things that we've been doing that aren't so frugal, and I want to say that I'll say that too, and I want to get back to, hopefully I'll remember to talk to you about credits and coupons and some things I want to do if my cat doesn't caterwaul through the rest of this video, because he's an orange tabby and they talk a lot. Not so frugal. So I don't know if this is on the side of not so frugal, but this is on the side of life balance and value. My husband and I were scheduling 10 roofs a week with 2 crews, and it was killing us. Whenever we're doing that many roofs, my husband has to go check on them, and there's a whole lot of other stuff that goes on around that. And we decided to cut back to no more than 6 or 7 a week, and we're trying to just get some breathing room. So that substantially cut back our income, and we have lost some customers because of it, but it was not worth the quality of life change that it was bringing us, because we were both staying up till 9 or 10 at night, making invoices and dealing with customers' needs and things like that. And I just had to tell people, like, it's going to be 2 weeks, it's going to be 3 weeks. And if they didn't want to wait and we lost them, it's significant income. If we lose a customer, it's generally around $3,000. Every roof varies, but that's the average. And that's before we pay taxes, but or the accountant or any of our expenses. But that's huge amount of money, and in our business, there are times of the year where you make all your money and then times of the year where you don't make hardly anything. So it may sound like a lot, but that was a decision we had to make that was really scary. And my teaching job was paying me really well. But we just decided on some quality of life things. And one thing I like to say is whenever I've been in debt-free mode or I've had to be frugal, I have such satisfaction in doing the things that help one be frugal or pay off debt. So some of those things would include things like right now I have a gift card for a local steak restaurant. I do not eat meat, but I'm going to take my daughter out there. We can use it. I can get a vegetable plate. I can take people there to eat. I have a credit at a clothing store where I sell my clothes, and my mom, in all her wisdom, got me a gift card to a resale shop, which is smart because that's where I shop. I love the library. It's free. I have a hiking date with a girlfriend and tea next week. So I'm thinking about, like, for a while we were making really good money, and I was like, well, I can finally let loose a little bit and enjoy some things. And I was doing a little bit more, and I just kind of was starting to feel the discomfort with that. And I kind of started spending a little bit more and then pulled back because I started to say, like, I really am not comfortable spending that much. So we did decide not to go out of town for 10 days. We scaled it back to 3 days at a getaway, which we did spend substantially more on that Airbnb than we would normally. But because our budget was around $3,000 to $4,000 for our other trip, the Airbnb was around $1,200. That is a lot for us. But I'm hoping it turns out to be good because it's got a pool and a hot tub and it's on a mountain with a beautiful view. And that's really going to be, it's just going to be getaway, relax, be in nature. So those are not really frugal, but they're frugal in the comparison of what we had budgeted. And we always, always, always spend within our budget. And so I just want to say that, like, I was telling my kids tonight, I went to see my grandson. I was telling my son-in-law and daughter-in-law, like, my daughter, like, don't, like, they were talking about credit cards. I'm like, do not spend on credit cards, please. I mean, I generally try not to give unsolicited advice. I was like, do you guys know what your interest rate is? And it was 27 or 29%. I'm like, you have to think every $100 you spend, they're charging you that if you don't pay it off monthly. And I know they don't. And so it's just like, I don't spend. And I told them, I said, when I was making a lot less than you, I wasn't using credit cards. If I didn't have the money to pay for it, I didn't. And now, as I said, unless it's a house or education, or in some situations, a car that you can get the lowest possible payment on, get the least car you can get by with, I said, then I understand. But everything else, there's no reason, unless it's like some kind of medical emergency and you have no emergency fund. But otherwise, I told them, if you don't have the money to pay for it, you can't afford it. And so that is, for us, we only spend money that we have budgeted and that we can afford. And quite truthfully, I am looking back to kind of cutting back. The other thing is, I know a lot of people in the frugal world right now are thinking about Christmas, because I'm hearing, I have been, the holidays. Now that we have daughters-in-laws and sons-in-laws and grandkids and bonus grandkids and all that, I'm kind of stressed about it. I also do not like to create clutter. I just don't like the idea of mass consumerism. And I really would like to give experiences to our kids and our family, and do things together, maybe pay to go to see the lights. You do have to pay to go see the lights here. There's like a big botanical garden. But I do want to, like, maybe pay for experiences instead of giving money, but I'm also afraid that they count on that money and that they need it. And so I've got to figure out how to talk to everybody about that this year. So what do you do for Christmas when your family grows, or when you have a lot of people to buy for? Especially, I know this is a weird and privileged situation, but what if you have the money and it's not about greed, but you don't want to set a precedent, because maybe, like, we know we're retiring 2 years and our income will drop drastically. we're going to have a big financial change. So I've seen that with my parents, where they used to buy a lot for us and for the grandkids, and now they can't. And I just don't want to create a scenario where there's disappointment or expectation of having a lot of money spent on them. So I would love to know what you do and how you handle that. And I just appreciate you being here for my money chats. Thank you so much. Bye-bye, everybody.